We're back on GMFB, and time for the Roundup presented by Roundup for Lawns. It's the 2025 NFL Draft. It's here, and sometimes it's most important to also pay attention to guys and people and coaches that got these players to the point where they are walking across that stage behind us in Green Bay this weekend. We're looking right at Alabama. You hear about all these players come out of Tuscaloosa every year, and in his first year as a head coach, Kalen DeBoer was awesome with Alabama. And he's on the show now, GMFB. Coach, how you doing? Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. Thanks for having me on. Good morning.
Oh, there's so many coaches. That's all right. More coaches than us. That's how we like it. Coach, we just mentioned them in the last segment. You got 3 players here that are going to experience this weekend together, and Jalen Milroe, Jahad Campbell, and Tyler Booker. The awesome personalities, great guys. Can you just speak on what those 3 did for your first year as a head coach at Alabama and your organization you're building?
Yeah, without a doubt. It's a broken record whenever people ask me about each of them individually, and I go from one to the other, and I say, this guy is special as a person. It's the same thing for all 3 of them. They all have 3 outgoing personalities. They carry a smile on their face, but they're tenacious on the football field. And so very similar that way. But obviously, super excited about what they're going to bring to the future, not just for themselves, but also continue to highlight what Alabama football has done for them. But they were instrumental in helping just be the glue through a transition last year. I'm excited for them. One of their biggest fans, that's for sure.
You're always good at talking about your players. I'm just going to ask you to talk about yourself a bit. For people watching at home, you had the task of replacing Nick Saban, a man who had the championships, a man who has a statue, who is an icon. It's such an overwhelming task to step into that role. How did you go about it, and how did you find success?
Well, I think you understand what you're coming into, and it's a program that has just decades and decades of success, and there's instrumental people that have taken it to greater heights. And Coach Saban obviously took it to an unbelievable place, and his mark is all over this building, all over this program, forever will be. And so just you understand that there's going to be people before you, then understand there's always going to be people after you. And I'm just privileged to come in and try to continue to build and build on what the foundation is of this program. And obviously Coach Saban was amazing during his 17 years here.
Kalen, in all my conversation with NFL coaches, scouts, executives leading up to this draft, one of the things that jumped out at me was how highly people rate Jalen Milroe as a runner, putting him in the same conversation as guys like Lamar Jackson. Now, Lamar also improved a ton as a passer after getting into the NFL. What do you think about the comparisons in terms of the running ability to some of the best we've seen? And does he have that same developmental upside with his arm?
Yeah, I mean, as a runner, I didn't get a chance to coach those guys, obviously, but you watch football and you see what they're capable of. I just know, speaking on behalf of Jalen, he was many times the greatest athlete on the football field. And, what he could do with the football in his hands, we just had to make sure we were giving him enough opportunities to go do that. Making people miss. He could put his shoulder down when he needed to and get those yards. But inside, outside, it really didn't matter. He could take it the distance. I think, as a defensive coordinator, if I was in those shoes, you're kind of worried every single play when the ball is snapped to make sure that he doesn't get loose, not just move the chains, but take it the distance.
Coach, we've had many, many prospects on the show over the last several weeks, and personally, I've not been impressed with any of them more than I was with Jalen Milroe. An incredibly sharp, eager, interesting guy. Like, we absolutely fell in love with him immediately. To that point, I want to bring you into our opening segment of our show we just did. He's here, and he's here at the draft. He's attending the draft, and we, as football fans and admirers of his, have some nerves about whether he may be drafted or not. There's a lot of prognosticators who do this for a living who say that Jalen Milroe will not be taken in the first round. It raised some eyebrows when he chose to attend the draft despite that. How did it make you feel about the decision?
Yeah, I mean, I just know what Jalen's all about. And, he appreciates every opportunity he gets, whether it's on the football field, being around people who are fans of his, supporters of his. He's going to give everything he has to those people. And I think, just living life in general, he got invited. This is an opportunity. And, yes, you don't know exactly. I mean, just like any other player, you don't know exactly where you're going to go. But these experiences are or what you worked your entire life for. And I understand it could go different directions, but he's going to enjoy this experience. And I think there's also a piece where there isn't just one other teammate. There's two other teammates that are there with him. And he's also there not just for himself, but he's also to support them and enjoy this experience together with all three of them.
I believe it. And you mentioned it. Those two other guys, and Jahad Campbell and Tyler Booker, we've also had them on GMFB. And they were at IMG Academy together. These two know each other so well, to the point where Jahad Campbell called Tyler Booker an absolute dog on our show. My favorite thing about Tyler Booker is the 0 sacks given up on 371 pass attempts for Jalen Milroe this season. An absolute stud. What is it about him that allows him to protect the quarterback, and why is he their new best friend in the NFL?
Well, and I'll talk about the pass strength, but he also is a finisher on the run blocking side. I think that's what makes him elite, and so he can do it both. But he's just an anchor inside. He's going to be firm inside in the middle interior there. I would put it as far as him being a guy that at some point, as he continues to grow and develop, couldn't even move to the outside. We had him at tackle for a game there, and he made that transition seamless against a good opponent. And I think he's so versatile, and his best football, just like I think all these guys, is still ahead of him. But he understands the game. He's tenacious, not just a run blocker, but he's going to make sure that he protects that quarterback behind him.
I met Tyler Booker last night, and he's here with Ty Simpson, who's been one of your backup quarterbacks at Alabama. He's been there for a few years now. Not often that the offensive lineman, like the star guard, first-round pick, is best friends with the backup quarterback. Can you just tell me about that relationship between the two of those guys?
I didn't know that until earlier in the season this past year. And Book's one of the best leaders I've ever been around. And I just could tell with just their relationship and the way he holds guys accountable to different things. He was elite that way. And I heard a conversation he had with Ty that made me really understand that, these guys have a special, connection that goes beyond just, hanging out and teammates. And so it didn't surprise me when, he asked Ty to come to the draft. And I'm super excited that Ty gets to be there and experience it, not just with Book, but also with Jalen and Jahad.
Well, that might not have surprised you, but something that surprised every human being on earth. Last year at the draft, Michael Penix Jr., your quarterback at Washington, gets drafted by Atlanta, and all of us fell off our chairs. No one saw it coming. What did you think about that moment, and what have you thought observing from afar about his first year in the league?
Yeah, I was super excited at that time. The more and more as time went on, the last week or so, I felt like there was going to be it was going to be for sure a thing where he would be drafted probably in the top 15. Didn't know what team, but I knew there was a lot of interest. And then I think it's just worked out really well for him, getting a chance to sit back for a little bit of time, have perspective. Mike's taking it all in, just be able to sort through and see things from a little bit of a step back, and then, getting the opportunity and making the most of it, just like he's always done. And so love the way and the direction things continue to go for him. The trend is, heading the right direction, and looking forward to a great year next year.
Coach, in all your years coaching before Alabama, but now specifically at Alabama, you guys have so many players in the NFL. I mean, the SEC and Alabama specifically riddled on NFL rosters. How do you go about keeping in touch with players that you have these relationships with, but you're also trying to coach up your own program? What's this like for you to launch these guys into the NFL, but they're near and dear to your heart?
Well, I'm still working on that, especially the ones that have been away from here for a while and maybe don't get back as often. So it's been, this group right now that's heading out, obviously super tight with them, and we have a connection. Even a little bit of last year's group, it's been fun kind of following them, and they come back a little bit more because they're still closer to the program, and they know they're always invited. But to continue to branch out to those guys that maybe have been away from Alabama for multiple years, that's still a work in progress. But I think across the board, wherever you've been, you're just excited about the journey that these guys are on. The past schools, whether it's Washington, Fresno State, guys all over the league, they're just living out their dream, doing what they do best. And, and whenever they need something, they know they're just a phone call away.
Well, we appreciate you bringing us into the journey. That's an absolute factory right there at Alabama.
Wow.
A ton of guys coming out this weekend. Kalen DeBoer, the head coach. Thanks so much for coming on GMFB. We appreciate you so much.
Too bad. Thank you. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Good Morning Football is presented by Roundup for Lawns. Kills weeds, not your lawn.